What happened is pitching wedges have got so strong. When I grew up, they were 50 degrees. Now all the way down to 40, sometimes 44, 43 even. But I mean, they're all the way down there, and that sand wedge always stayed at that around 56 degrees because that was a loft that you needed, sand wedge, to get out of the bunkers, at that particular time. When I see a gap there, I try to fit them into that gap and have the proper, see, wedges can close the gaps, but a bad wedge fit could also create gaps. It's so very important to be able to fit the proper way, to have the right bounce, the right grind, all these, and I'll go all the way through the shafts, grips, right lies, be properly fit. You're going to get the best of your game, because if you don't have, say, the right lie, you're not going to get the full benefit of the grind or the sole and the bounce. So if your toes up, it's not going to perform right. Your toes down, it's not going to perform right. All these different things. It's so very important to be fit so you can get the full benefit of that particular grind. And you're going to get then you'll get the full benefit of the distance, the control, the spin, and all the things that you want to get it. And this is what we've been trying to do. We recognize this. Our company recognizes, and we put the resources in to be able to work with our fitters and with our partners, our club pros out there, and help them fit properly. Because wedges, there's so much variation. But you know what? The average weekend golfer hits maybe 6 greens around, 5 or 6. He's got a lot of opportunity to get up and down. But I've seen them out there. They're out there trying to hit that 300-yard drive, and the average weekend golfer doesn't have that physical ability. But he's got the physical ability to get up and down inside 100 yards, just with practice like a pro can, because he doesn't need that club head speed. I call it the avid golfer, it gradually creeps up on them. From 10 feet wear with a brand new wedge, roll out, goes 18. Next thing you know, it's 24, and they're not noticing it. So what they're doing is they're adjusting to the rollout instead of saying, "Wait a second, let's take a look. Let's get our wedge looked at. Let's get the wear." So it's very important. So it's very, very important to have your wedges checked. Usually 75 rounds is a pretty good number. That's, of course, remember, at 75 rounds, there's a lot of practice that goes involved with that. At 75 rounds equates to probably about a good 500 bunker shots. And that really wears. A bunker shot really wear your wedge. It's very important to go to a fitter. Go to I call it, as I say, preferably a Titleist fitting center. Fitter that will definitely help you. But if you can't do that, you got to make sure they got the right lofts. And the type of grinds that they want to get is good for a fitter, but you can see the grinds. There are pretty good descriptions on the grinds on our website. Gives a pretty good description for your course conditions, the type of shots that you want to hit. But there's no substitute for hitting them. Really, that's why it's so very important to hit them, because everybody's a little different. When I fit, I want to be able to, you hear me say hit that number? They want to be able to hit it a certain yardage that you can cover it. I like anywhere between 4 to 6 degrees, the distance between your lofts, and also that should equate to about 10 to 15 yards distance. That's the most. When you start getting over 15 yards, that's a pretty big gap to try to cover. You can see it looking at it. You may be able to see the ball land, but you don't realize how far 20 yards is. And then try to hit it in between there. It's pretty tough. And of course, when we're fitting, make sure you're using the same ball that that you play with. You don't want to be fit by and go out and use a little old range ball, the hard-covered ball. It's not the ball. You want to be able to use the ball that you particularly play with, because that's going to affect your trajectory, your spin, and of course, feel. I would like to fit first off. Full swings, I call it a 3/4. How often do you swing fulls? You may be swinging full and maybe you're 46 and you're 50, but when you start getting to sand and lob, you're not swinging full. Because the tour players, they very seldom swing full. What happens with tour player, swing full, the ball's launches a little higher, and sometimes with a little bit more spin. That's where I like to fit first for my gapping. And then go green side, hitting all the other shots for my chips, my bunkers, my rough play. Then I let them hit the different grinds that works best for their particular swing type. Remember, that swing type travels with that player from course to course. Are you a digger or of an upright swinger? Or are you a slider, shallow cut, just take a little cusp of sand? That helps you by little cusp of sand, you don't need as much bounce. But if you're more of an upright swinger, take a big divot, you need a little bit of bounce to resist. You want the bounce to repel the ground for you so you can move on through. Get my ugly face out of there.